Member for Nelson.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to pay tribute to an extraordinary Territorian, a formidable cattleman and a true leader of the North, David Warriner, who sadly passed away earlier this month. David was not only a pillar of the Northern Territory pastoral industry, but a fierce advocate for its people. His passing marks the loss of a man whose voice, vision and leadership shaped the cattle industry across generations. A remarkable man and a passionate leader, David was a true champion for the North Australian cattle industry. His passing is not only a loss to his family and friends, but also to an entire industry, a region, and he leaves a legacy of vision. David was born in Alice Springs, and from the very beginning, he was destined to be part of the landscape of the Northern Territory. He learned the ropes as a jackaroo in the top end, eventually managing Nokarunda Station. David was also the general manager at the Tipperary Group, which managed Tipperary, Lizzie Downs, Douglas and Litchfield stations. David was more than a skilled cattleman. He was also well respected and a liked leader with strong morals. He served as the president of the Northern Territory Cattle Association from 2012 to 2015 and then chair of the Northern Territory Livestock Exporters Association until 2021. David was the president of the Northern Territory Cattlemen's Association when the industry launched a class action against the federal government's 2011 suspension of the live cattle exports to Indonesia, ultimately resulting in a federal court finding that the government had performed illegally, imposing a huge consequential ban. David also became a ministerial advisor to the former CLP Minister Gary Higgins in 2016 to share his knowledge, experience and leadership. David fought for the land tenure reform, practical infrastructure and a fair price for producers, all with a deep understanding of the Territory's unique challenges. He believed that Northern Australia had the potential to feed a rising Asian and also worked tirelessly to make that vision a reality. David was also a driving force behind the rebuilding the Berrima stockyards, a project that stands today as a testament to his determination and practical leadership. In March this year, David was awarded life membership of the NTCA. It was a fitting and timely recognition of a man who gave so much of his life to the industry. Sadly, it came just weeks before his passing, but it stands now as a lasting reminder of the respect and admiration he earned. To Gina and David's family, we extend our deepest condolences. David was a respected and passionate leader whose lifelong dedication helped shape the Northern Australian beef industry. We remember David as a straight shooter, a big thinker and a man who believed in the power of unity. He was a force of good, formidable, compassionate, principled and irreplaceable. Thank you.
Member for Karama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wasn't really going to speak, but I heard the Deputy Chief Minister talking about David Warriner, and I'd just like to also just pass on my condolences to the family. I had the experience of working with David a number of times. I went overseas to Indonesia with him a couple of times. I was also here when a number of Indonesian delegations came down here, particularly focused around the cattle industry, live cattle industry. I'd have to say he was a true professional and he was an absolute staunch advocate for the local NT cattle industry, both in his role with the NT cattle industry itself and also the Livestock Exporters Association. I do recall a number of times, I think when the railway and the port projects were coming up, we had a number of dealings looking at how maybe cattle could benefit from some of those projects. I remember taking out some of the major investors in the railway project out to the livestock cattle yards down Berrima there, and I think we took them up through the cow pats on a very hot day, and these guys were all in suits. We got up there and we met David and we met Patrick Underwood and all those, and they must have thought, who are these guys in suits? But anyway, they realised they were actually true investors. They did really want to get in there. And as they were walking back, they were trying to make sure they didn't stand in those cow pats. And they said to me, they said, Brian, do you think those guys thought we were a bunch of idiots? I said, well, certainly the way you're dressed, yes, but they're certainly after your money. So, but no, look, David was a gentleman. He was really honest. He obviously knew his stuff well. Obviously, he'd had time with a consolidated pastoral company, the Packer Group companies and so on. His father was in the industry and all that. So once again, I just pay tribute to David as a great hero of our local cattle industry, and I extend my condolences to his family. Thank you.